Shabir is in Edinburgh. Shabir, what would you like to say?
Well, what I'd like to say is it just sounds like the politics of envy, and that that's what it sounds like to me, James. I'm sorry.
The politics of envy. Carry on. No, go on.
It's a case of if I can't have that wealth, no one should. And we have to realise that people like the Jobs of this world, or the Gates, or the Musks, or the Bezoses of this world, they've created these companies from nothing at their own risk. And if they failed, they would have lost everything. And right now, they employ millions of people. Like, say, for instance, Amazon. I'm not sure how many employees they have, but it's well over 1 million worldwide.
Yes. No one's suggesting that he should... he doesn't even need to give up any of his personal wealth, does he? It would just be the annual profits of the company that were diminished by paying people enough money. I don't know if you understand these words, Shabir. I don't know if you understand the words politics of envy, to be honest. But let's focus instead on keep up with inflation. Some of the poorest paid people in the country are asking that their ability to pay their bills stays the same as what it is now, while they are among the poorest paid people in the country, and criticising the fact that
is that the fault of the employer, though?
Yes, the wages are entirely.
It's not really.
Is it not? So who should they ask for a pay rise?
No, James. It's not the fault of the employer that inflation is where it is.
So who should they ask for a pay rise then?
Well, the government should subsidise a certain amount, without a doubt. If you pay your employees too much, James, it's quite simple.
Where is the money going to come from for the government to subsidise? Will it come from taxes?
Is it going to come from the employers?
And if I point out Amazon's tax regime, would that be the politics of envy? Listen, I'm only indulging you because I'm feeling very warm and generous and the weather's outside, because you're obviously a ridiculous person who doesn't really mean what you're saying. $272 billion for one man, while his workforce have been denied a pay rise in excess of 35 pence an hour. I mean...
How much do Amazon employees make per hour in the UK? Do you know?
No, mate, you're just not even pretending to be relevant.
No, I'm not pretending to be relevant. What I'm saying is that if you increase wages too much, you will put a lot of businesses out of business.
Yeah.
It's simple and straightforward.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Amazon, they'll be finished. They'll be finished by tea time if these warehouse workers get £2 an hour.
I disagree with you what you're saying, but all I'm saying is that if you increase wages, if you keep on increasing wages, you'll put a lot of small employers out of business. Yeah. It's as simple and straightforward.
So your response to a question about Amazon is to talk about fictional small employers or theoretical small employers?
I'm not trying to defend Amazon. Right. What I'm trying to say is...
You are, because you just said it was the politics of envy to criticise Amazon. Now, just let me remind you what happened 3 minutes ago. You just literally were defending Amazon. You phoned in to criticise people, criticising this specific model, Shabir.
What I'm saying is, what has one man's wealth got to do with his employees?
Well,
he's given them employment.
Nothing, Shabir. Jeff Bezos' wealth has absolutely nothing. Nothing to do with Amazon workers. Nothing to do with Amazon workers.
There's not a shortage of employment at the
moment. Do you know what else? If these people aren't... Did you just say... Maybe you just said that. I wasn't really concentrating. Did you just say if these people won't work for this pittance, then there's plenty of people that will?
I didn't say pittance at all.
But you did make that point. If they won't work for this money, then there's plenty of people that will.
I didn't say that at all.
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
There's plenty other employment available.
Right. So if they don't like it, they can sod off then.
Well, there's no shortage of jobs at the moment, is there?
No. So they should go and find another job.
If they know what they're signing up to.
So no one should ever be allowed to ask for a pay rise.
No. What I'm saying is.
So who should be allowed to ask for a pay rise?
No. People should be allowed to ask for a pay rise.
But that's the politics of envy.
No, you're twisting what I'm saying. You know that. But what I'm saying is that there's plenty other employment.
I'm not laughing with you, by the way, just for the complete avoidance of doubt. I'm laughing at you.
When you sign up for an employment contract, you know what you're signing up for.
Yeah, and then inflation comes along, and you expect your employer to accommodate that in some way, or at least to address your changed circumstances. So I'd ask you again, who's allowed to ask for a pay rise in the land of Shabir?
Everybody should be allowed to ask for a pay rise, but every employer has their limits.
And how relevant to that employer's ability to provide a pay rise should the amount of money that employer has be, Shabir, do you think?
Well, that's just between the employer and the employee.
So if the employer is the richest man in the world and the employees are asking for something in excess of 35 pence an hour, then the wealth of the employer is relevant to the pay request.
Well, Jeff Bezos doesn't run Amazon anymore. He's a shareholder in Amazon.
The request... Okay, you carry on. So let's just talk about the $15 a year, $15 billion a year profit then. I mean, is that relevant to whether or not they can afford to provide workers with a pay rise? Or is that politics of envy as well?
Number one priority is to shareholders. Without the shareholders, there would be no employees.
Yeah. Well, that's not true either, is it? There's plenty of companies that don't have shareholders, or that you could have nationalised companies. But the point is this. In your world...
Are you suggesting we should nationalise Amazon? Please tell me. I could
probably live with it, but you're distracting me now. I want to get back to the question of who's allowed to ask for a pay rise.
Everybody's allowed to ask for a pay rise,
and who's allowed to get one? Who's allowed to get one?
Well, if the employer can afford it, they will negotiate one. If they can't afford it, then they won't.
And can Amazon afford it?
Well, that's between them and the employer. Them and the employees, rather.
Yes, I know.
You can't put everything. You can't put everything on the employer's
So it's not the
head.
politics of envy then.
It is, to a certain degree, it is, in the sense that you're pointing out that Jeff Bezos is worth whatever he's worth, several $1 billion, right? Well, so what if he is?
I know. It's irrelevant.
Without him, there would be no million Amazon employees.
Yes.
None of these people would have a job without him.
And they should be grateful for that job, and they should stop complaining about the fact that they have to work six days a week in a warehouse where 178 ambulances have been called out in the last 4 years, because if they don't like it, they should jolly well clear off and get a job somewhere else. I'm perfectly clear about what you've said. The person who doesn't understand what you've said, Shabir, is you.
No, you're twisting what I'm saying,
I'm not twisting what you say. I'm holding up a mirror, mate. It's not my fault that you don't like what you see.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
But it is perfectly comprehensible.